Hi everyone, good afternoon. Did you have a good lunch? Yes. Are you like me, glowing and tanned? So when you go back, you can say, oh, I didn't sit in an aircon room the whole time. I was out there exploring Penang. Trekking, yes, trekking in the heat. So this is our last panel for today. Of course, we still have workshops and things happening right after this, which I hope you will also take part in. But this is a panel that, well, here we are sitting in a nice aircon room, and it would be easy for us to always sit in a nice aircon room in the great comfort of our familiar, usual surroundings. But we have here 3 women who have decided, and I think we can talk about whether it's a real choice or it was something that just happened to you, to get themselves out of their usual comfort zones, to do something quite challenging for themselves and also perhaps also their surroundings. So you've met all of them, I think, in one way or another. You heard Manal this morning talking about her wonderful campaign, really, really confronting campaign to challenge the norms in Saudi society on a very simple issue. You heard Nelleisa, who is still overcoming illness, but not letting that stop her, even though many of us might just want to lie in bed and, just relax. And Hazleen, if any of you were here on the first day, wasn't it? And went to her workshop, she and Shah's workshop on trekking. These 2 women are so evangelical. There's no other word for it. Shah and her are evangelical about trekking. Every minute that they can, they are trying to brainwash me into going on the next one. And I don't know. I'm running out of excuses, I think. But,
she's got our T-shirt now.
Yeah, and apparently that brainwashes you into wanting to go trekking. But we'll see. I'm still resisting a little bit. But as Isabel said earlier, she had a nice job in corporate comms, traveling about in executive life, very corporate life, and then decided to do this amazing thing, trekking and climbing mountains, and now it's 29 mountains later.
30 now? I did Penang Hill yesterday.
Oh, yesterday, yes. You all were sitting here comfortably listening to people, and these 2 went up to climb Penang Hill. Is that fanatic or not? A little bit. But it seems for Hazleen and Shah and Amazing Trekkers Club, ain't no mountain high enough. Right? So, can I just start this conversation by asking this question about choice? We all like to have choices in our lives. So the things that you're doing now, was it a conscious choice, or did it happen overnight, or was it something that built up and you couldn't resist anymore? Manal, would you like to go first?
As I said in my speech, when it feels wrong, not because you're wrong, because it is wrong. And growing up being told, because I'm a girl, I cannot do anything, literally anything. Jen was talking about biking. I said, I cannot bike in my country, just riding a bicycle. And I think it was imposed on us that we are less than men, we're inferior, and it's aib, means shameful, because I'm a woman. And I think the first choice I made in my life was to remove the niqab I used to wear the full face covering. And then I did a lot of reading, and it has nothing to do with Islam. And I was like, I felt betrayed. Because when I followed it, I was following God, not men's rules. So I think what we do today is just a pile-up, accumulating of past experiences that we go through in our life. Right. You can never judge someone if you don't walk in their shoes. Yeah. And I think everyone makes their choices today because of the experiences they've been through in their life.
Right. But are you the only one? I mean, you can't be alone in doing this. So are there a lot of women who feel like you in Saudi, or are you, an aberration? Or?
No, there are. So when I started, the closest people to me are against it, and you will know you're changing when you start losing friends. But it's okay. You'll start making new friends. So that was the first thing. The new friends I made, they were mind-liked. And it's funny, I didn't meet them in real life. I met them on social media. And I'm like, oh my God, finally someone speaks like me, not telling me I'm crazy, to question these rules. And that helped to know there are other women, but they didn't have the courage, because the intimidation in my society is huge. The shame game in my society is really huge against women. And it's really a men world. So it's women around the world, when they break a taboo or when they challenge a status quo, especially the pioneers, they're the one who paid the highest price. But make no mistake, they paved the way to the other women after them.
Absolutely.
There are way more women now speaking up in Saudi Arabia, especially the millennia. To the millennia. They're amazing, they're fearless and courageous, and they don't accept to be called less. So we were brought up, brainwashed, and really programmed that we are less. My face is shame, my voice is shame, and my name is shame. So we were invisible, voiceless, faceless, and nameless. And it took so long time to break the chains within me. And when I changed, people around me started to change, but they had to accept that this woman is not accepting to be controlled in that way.
Right.
So more and more, I think when you see someone breaking that taboo, it becomes easier, the fear of breaking it. Imagine you wake up one day and there is a wall in your village, and you cannot reach the well because this wall is there. The imams will come and pray, God, please remove this wall. The writers will come and write all these articles about the wall, who built the wall. And the mothers will say, it's okay, don't go there. We don't know what's behind the wall. They've built fear in you. And then one of you comes and just push the wall, and it's a cardboard. Why no one did that? And I think pioneers do that.
Yes.
They go and push it. And they say, you see, it can be done. There's nothing scary about it.
Absolutely. Great, thank you. So can I just move on to Nelleisa?
Yeah, look for walls.
Okay, when it comes to choices, I used to make, like what I mentioned earlier, women tend to overthink. So to me, right, when it comes to doing something, when you overthink, it becomes something that you're not comfortable with, and also after that it becomes excuses, and then after that you procrastinate, and then it doesn't happen. So once I was diagnosed, and then after that, like a lot of things just came to me just like that. So I do it at the spur of the moment, because the thing is, if I don't do it there and then, that thing won't happen at all. So like for example, we created the Godmothers. It was just an overnight decision. We launched a batik line overnight. So, it's new adventures, but the thing is, if I were just overthinking about like, will there be a lot of risk? Will there be problems later and whatnot? Those things won't happen. So, yeah, I'm on the spur of the moment thing.
Right. Sure.
When I turned 30, I went skydiving.
You and what?
I went skydiving. I mentioned this in my speech, but I remember I was so excited, giving the victory sign. And when we were up the sky, anyone did skydiving? Amazing.
I'm scared of heights.
Exactly. The feeling when they opened the door? What did you say? Holy shit. I'm gonna jump this? No way. So I just look at the guy and say, you know I'm not gonna jump. He says, I know, and he pushed me. That second, when he pushed me, it broke all that fear. I was like, oh my God, I felt so scared to jump. I just needed that push. Sometimes you have to push yourself. You don't have the guy behind you to push you. Sometimes you just close your eyes and do it.
Because
Overcome
exactly,
your
the more
fears.
you contain, the more fear you have about the next step.
The more the monster becomes huge because it's all here.
Yeah,
Really.
exactly. So Hazleen, was it
Yes.
a choice for you?
Well, I just hope nobody pushes me off the mountain. Well, in my case, it was actually by chance, not a choice. I was sitting in a mom's meeting with a colleague of mine now. So she was signed up to climb Mount Kinabalu. And it was 2 weeks before the actual date of the climb. And she said to me, you know, I've been feeling really ill. There's something about my immunity. I need to find out what's wrong with me. And I said, okay. And then she looked at me and she said, you look really fit. Just so happened that I was training for a run. I was doing, this urbanathlon. I don't know if you've heard of this. This is a 14-kilometer run with 9 obstacles. Now, how I got into running is also by chance. I was training for that. And I thought, okay, mountain climbing, not something that I've thought about. But let me think about it. So it was more of to help her get out of the situation. And, you know, she's paid $800 that she can't afford to lose. So went back home. I said to my husband, someone has offered for me to climb a mountain. I think that's crazy. And he's like, what's so crazy about that? Well, you know, just do it. And I said, you know, I don't have anything. I don't know what gear, what preparation, how high the mountain is. And he said, that's the computer. Google it. Find out. Which I did, and that was what was responsible for, I would say, sowing the seed of wonder in me. And till today, that seed has not, or the plant has not stopped growing. It just keeps growing, and it has evolved. And yeah, I'm now up to my 30th mountain, and I've always believed that, you know, people who love the outdoor, it would just come naturally. And it's more than just a physical challenge. The mountains, for people who love mountains, the wonder, this is what I believe, is beyond dispute. People who don't love mountains find that the allure and the attraction is just kind of madness. And we've been called mad many times, but that has not stopped us.
Right. No, but you know, I climbed Kinabalu 10 years ago. And it was inspired by an American friend of mine who, for her 50th birthday, was going on a trek, I think in the Rocky Mountains or something like that, with her sisters. And she's my foster sister, American foster sister. She asked me along. And I thought, are you kidding? But then it inspired me that I wanted to do something when I turned 50 that was outside my comfort zone and challenge myself. So I decided, well, there's this mountain in my backyard, so let's do it. And
So we know today she's 60.
Yes, I am.
You just told us your age.
I am. I tell everyone. So 10 years ago, went up Kinabalu, and I was the second last person at the peak, and the last person is sitting over there. I won't point him out. Yes, he's admitting to it.
That's Saudi Arabia.
In the room.
Always come last, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. So I understand that. But when I came back, and I told I have a group of friends that I have lunch with, and they all said, oh, wow. And one of them said, I would never do anything like that ever, outdoors. I'm just not into it. And yeah, that's okay. But is it possible to persuade someone who is, I don't know, is it because they've never been outdoors that they don't know what it offers? Or are there some people who are just not suited?
It's similar to relationship. I always equate mountain climbing and being in nature as like, you know, being in love with someone. It's true. It's an unconditional love as well. So you can, train as much as you want, you can be physically fit, but if you just hate being dirty and full of dirt all over your body and your clothes and being wet and smelly, and you really will hate it. But we have actually turned people around. During the workshop, I shared this, that my nickname is actually Hazel Dazzle. Because I bring the dazzle in every mountain that we climb. So we always come out, and Shah knows this, we have our cold towels, we have our essential oils. So people see that you can look good on the mountain, you can look good in your active wear, you can look good while you're sweaty. There's such thing as Beautify Me on your phone app. But to answer your question, you have to have something in you. And being up on a mountain, when you are on the summit especially, it's like you're being pushed to the brink of death. I mean, you look down and there's a really sharp drop and you feel like, okay, at any time now I can literally drop dead. But the feeling of being alive is so great that it actually kills the fear in you. And you come down, you say, oh my God, that's the worst thing. I mean, like we did Rinjani, I know you want to do Rinjani, it's the toughest thing I've done. And that was the reason why I created this club, is to deter people from doing the wrong mountain at the wrong time in their trekking journey.
Right.
So yeah, that's the key thing.
Well, I must say that the thing that got me thinking that I could do it when my American friend went was that her sister said there's no such thing as bad weather, there's just bad clothes. Meaning that if you're not wearing the right stuff, the right gear, that's how you're miserable. So be prepared. Yeah. So we're back to talking about doing the difficult thing and choices and all that. Are there any regrets? Are there any sacrifices when you do this? I mean, maybe 90% it's great, but is there a 10% that you kind of wish went the other way,
So people usually see the Olympic athlete when he's standing, biting his gold medal. And they have no clue the journey he's been through, the tears he shed, the pain, the commitment, the time and effort he put to be there. We always see that shiny thing, but we don't know what's the journey. And I think that's a problem today with this media. They only care about the shiny things, but they don't walk you through their journey. I'm pretty sure everyone with great success always comes great sacrifice. Should we regret them? I don't know, because once you reach your destination, although I'm pretty sure you go through so many times where you regret, like, why I'm doing this, right? You question yourself. Someone hurt, but when you reach there, really that feeling of regret becomes so small that you cannot even live, like you don't live with it.
Yeah. And Nelleisa, are there naysayers around you? I mean, people who are genuinely concerned, right? Like, why do you want to put yourself through this and all that? I mean, they have good intentions. And how do you deal with that? Your mom or.
Well, so far after going through my treatment, because what I do is I actually openly document my journey on my Instagram, because people can relate better when there's an image, right? So, I mean, at one point, the picture I showed you guys earlier, the one with the one-side bikini, so I actually posted that picture a few times to just remind people on, that doesn't mean that you have one roadblock in front of you, you can't go around the roadblock and continue with life. So I have people I lost a lot of friends basically, because they said that I was being pretentious on fighting for this cause to advocate about breast cancer awareness. But to me, I just want to portray to people, I just want to inspire people that, I mean, like, look at me. I mean, I'm still here. I mean, like, I'm not dead yet, right? So, and also with that, I am doing a lot of things where people say that they can't. So, when it comes to going into advocating things when it comes to breast cancer, I don't regret it at all, because, like I mentioned, it has a sense of fulfillment, giving back something to the community. And yeah, so no regrets so far, but I don't mind losing people over this, because I realize that we are just used to be in a surrounding an environment that is a mixture of positive vibes and negative vibes. So at the moment, I mean, the moment I can sense that aura coming near, I'm like, okay, bye, now gotta go. So yeah.
Right. Okay, just shed the negativity and just surround yourself with positivity. Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Because the thing is, like, there is too much tension in our environment, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's why, like I mentioned, last weekend, I just decided to just drop everything and go to Legoland just for fun. But I know it sounds childlike, but it's okay. It's what I want. So right now, I don't care about everyone else, one except for my family. But yeah.
And Hazleen, you take groups of women on these treks. How big are the groups?
Our biggest group, we had 25 ladies who
25.
did a 3 Peaks challenge in Hong Kong. Lantau, it's called Lantau Peak, Sunset Peak, and Dragon's Back. It's a 3-day, 2-night trip and 3 peaks, and we all made it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and it was exceptional. Yeah.
So I mean, when you do these treks, it's not just about leading people up mountains and things like that. It's also about managing all these women, right? Yeah. And they're bound to be different personalities and things. So. Have you found, oh, you're giggling, there must be some story to this. So have you found, I don't know, over the years with the experience, have you found new sides of you that all this has helped you, in dealing with people? Because like it or not, we're always having to deal with people, whether it's just in an office or leading them up a mountain. So how have you found that?
This is very interesting. Now, coming back to your initial question to Manal about the challenges, or sacrifices you make. For myself, I do sacrifice a lot of time that I could spend with my 3 children. I have a 19-year-old boy who's now serving the national service in Singapore. I've got a 9-year-old daughter, Zoe. She's a gymnast. She competes, and she's recently climbed Mount Fuji with me. Right up to the summit, and I've got a little girl, Olivia, who's 7. My husband's retired. He works from home, so it's hard for me being on the mountain. At any time, the weather can turn, and it's a big risk, and sometimes it can be perceived as being irresponsible. But for me, as a mother and as a wife, and someone, I've achieved quite a lot in my life, and when I wasn't doing something with a goal, with a challenge, it just felt empty. And there's so many women I find in the expat community, especially in Singapore, is that, they feel that, being the trailing spouse, they feel invisible, being in an environment whereby we're looked at as women, and the reason why you're there is because, you're following your husband. He's here on a job, and that's why you're there. So for them, they need a challenge. They need something to look forward to. And I set up this company or this business in a 2-pronged approach, which is, one, is to build a community of sisterhood. It is a movement, and it's a very strong, powerful movement. And number 2, I'm creating a business to enrich my lives, and in the process, I enrich the lives of other women by expanding our experiences through travel, and as mothers with many children, going on like a vacation with girlfriends, not that there's nothing wrong with that, but on a shopping trip, there is that sense of guilt. But going trekking to achieve a goal, which is either the summit or doing a sunrise trek, it's very empowering. There's a strong message there. You are working towards something. You're working really hard. You're training. My children see me train. I wake up at 6 in the morning to train the women. It's about prepping them with what they need physically, psychologically, mentally. And the mental aspect of it is very, very true. There is a myth that when you go through hiking, which is a long distance hiking, it is 90% mental, and it is not a myth. It is so true. No matter how strong you are physically, no matter how much you've trained, if you're not mentally strong, I mean, I see both of you here, and including you, Datin Paduka, is the mental strength. It's not how high a mountain you climb, whether physically or metaphorically. It's the number of people that you have brought with you. And I want to thank you for bringing all of us here.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you for coming.
In this mountain climb that we are all working towards.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, going back to, I mean, you know, I was looking at three of you, and I realized that we all have something in common here, and particularly here in Malaysia, which is considered a kind of modern developing country, but it's also in many ways traditional, especially its attitudes towards women. And actually all three of you, we're basically all of the same faith, and facing a lot of challenges which supposedly come from that. So do you still feel that? You know, you mentioned this idea of guilt, which Catherine talked about yesterday, and I think all of us are like, yeah. Because expectations about us, I mean, we're all in many ways challenging the norms of what we are supposed to be. Do you find that hard to handle, or do you don't care? I mean, how do you? I mean, you know, people look at me, but and think that I'm doing, fighting all over the place. But I still feel it. I still feel it. It's weird when sometimes people meet me and they say, "Oh, but you're nice." I was like, oh, gosh, what's our image? Well, it must be one heck of a B ... image that I have out there. So, I mean, do you worry about this type of perception of you, or do you not care, or do you think that ultimately what you do is going to be the truth of what you do?
You know, when you go mountain climbing, right? As your question earlier, which I haven't really answered, is, and I try avoid to answer this. Women can be quite challenging. I mean, especially women. I mean, the people that get attracted to us is the ones who happen to be financially independent. We have got scientists, we've got doctors, lawyers, teachers. I mean, they're all very highly educated, very, very smart, very successful in their career, and also very spoiled, very, very demanding. And the more we give, the more they expect. And sometimes you just have to be either rude or forward, or just say, sorry, this is what we have. And you know, whether you like it or not, this is the food that you have. We are on a mountain hut at 3,600 meters. You know, we're sorry, just whatever that, be happy. You know, and we were on Mount Fuji, and you know, the accommodation that we had was less than the luxurious ones that we used to organize. And it's like, oh no, this is not what we expected from the amazing Trekkers Club. Yeah, but this is a different trek that we do. It is for charity. So, you know, to put you know, so there are pluses and minuses, but you learn from one another. So we learn as women is that to put aside our differences and to just combine our strength, although they're different, but, you know, collectively we can, take, you know, it's a privileged thing for us to be able to climb a mountain, to be away from our family, and to just learn more about ourselves, our strength, our weaknesses, and and to apply that in real life situation.
Can I say something? So when I posted the video, over 80% were dislikes. Yes, one day. And that's 700,000 views. When I was sent to jail, my group, they had to put it private, that video. And I remember I cried. It was so painful to read. They attack women usually how she looks like. They don't attack her actions more than they attack how she looked like, how she dressed. It's always they go to this superficial thing thinking they can break you. And I got threats to be killed, to be raped. People went to my family house. Strangers showed up in my office. But that's the funny thing, I've never met those people face to face. I've always wanted to meet those haters I meet online. I wish they meet me face to face and we have a conversation. And that's the dangerous, I would say, of the social media when you get perception about yourself through social media. It's not true. And this is what I've been through. This is my own experience. I remember the guy who gave a statement to the newspaper that she should be flogged in a public place to set an example for other women. He came to the jail. He was so curious. He came to the jail to meet me. He's an official, by the way, a government official. And they said, you have to meet him. I said, no, I don't want to meet him. No, you have to meet him. I didn't know he said that, because in jail, you're really disconnected from the outside world. I went, I met him, and I was just talking to him, and he's like, you're nothing like I expected. I expected angry woman who says terrible things. So he also created that image of me in his head of what people said about me. And it's very sad. When I move to any new place, people come to me and introduce me to the people in the office, and I say, please, do not give me your opinion about a person. Let me create my own opinions, because I don't know what problems you had with them. Because you know, people like to tell you, be careful from that person, from this person. I'm pretty sure I've been through the same for my actions. You cannot control what people say about you that really affect you, but you can control how you respond. And believe me, if you see two people, one is fighting and shouting and the other one being very respectful, even the other one could be he's the mistaken one, who do you respect? Who do you see yourself with? Arabic we say, تعلم الأدب من قليل الأدب. Learn manners from the one with no manners. Because you look at them and it's like, am I going to be like that? Yeah. It is difficult at the start, but then you grow thick skin and you learn that no matter what, you will find people criticize you. Always remember who you are before people criticized you, before people broke your heart, before people called you disrespectful. And also remember who you are before other people called you a hero or a most influential person, because you don't want to lose yourself. You just want to be focused on your goal, know who you are, regardless of compliments or criticism. That's the hard way.
I totally understand that. And in fact, I was going to ask, all of you have taken a kind of a public stand to advocate for something, for you, for changes in Saudi Arabia, for women with cancer to still carry on living, and for you to get women out in the outdoors and do things. So these are all kind of public stands. Do you ever feel tired? And do you ever feel like, oh, I wish someone else would take this on? And you know, or do you think that you will always, you know, be there at the forefront? Because I know I feel like sometimes, like, can someone else take this for a while, you know?
For me, okay, because I'm not that young, but I'm not that old too. But yeah, there are a lot of actually young survivors, age from 24 up till, yeah, I'm 35 this year. So I mean, it's all about what you believe in, I suppose, to push this through. Wait, sorry, I think I got chemo brain. What was the question again?
Or whether you feel tired
You wanna give up?
of shouldering
Okay, I'm not giving up
responsibility.
yet. I'm not giving up yet. So, but the thing is, like, having these people around, and I think in the future, because these young ones, right, they always have the spirit to fight on. So, but then for now, I don't feel tired yet. But what I'm tired is seeing more people who's getting cancer, and I really wish that I could do something about it. I actually cried when I got to know there are a few people that I actually helped who had passed on. So I'm really stressed and frustrated. How else can I help?
Right.
Yeah, so sometimes I feel tired because I know it's not my fault, but I feel like it's my fault that I can't help more.
Right.
So I guess I hope, yeah, well, I'm sure in the future there are more people who can take this stand together with me. So, like what you mentioned right now, you're building a community, right? I want to create a movement
Right.
Fight your fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, inspired by Anne Osman. I'm not sure she's here. That's the tagline she used for her fights. But yeah, so with a strong tagline, and if you believe in it, then you can fight for it. So yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Can I add on to that, Nelly?
Yeah.
I wanted to give up even before I started.
Really.
How it happened was, I was climbing just, as leisure. It's part of my so-called new hobby. And then I found out December 2.5 years ago that I had a big cyst under my nose, and a cyst that had been growing for 25 years right under my nose, literally without me knowing. And it needed a massive surgery, involved a dental surgeon as well as a plastic surgeon, because they literally had to cut my nose from inside under my lip. It involved 75 stitches. It was a 15-hour surgery. The reason being because it was very close to my palate. If they were not careful, then it would create a deviated palate. So I came out of the surgery. I was recovering. I remember just before they put me under and give me general anesthetic, I was going through the brochure that you were looking at just now before it went to print. So I came out of the surgery. I was fine. I was still determined to start this amazing Trackers Club. And then my mom passed away suddenly. We didn't expect it. So that my whole world just came tumbling down, and I stayed in a dark room for 7 days. I became really ill. I just didn't want to go out, didn't want to do anything. And because I hadn't seen her for a month, because I was recovering myself, it was just a very difficult time for me. And then my husband walked into the room, switched the light on, and said, "You have to get out. You have to do this amazing Trackers Club thing that you want to do. Help other women and help yourself in the process." And I'm still in my journey to recovery, because I feel that when I climb mountains, I'm talking to my mom, I'm talking to my dad, I'm talking to myself, I'm doing a lot of soul searching. So it's therapeutic. So the benefits that we get from mountain climbing, by helping other women, by empowering people around you, surround yourself with good people, and the vibe that you get is about the health, your happiness, about adventure, it's about perspective and the mental space that you get. The benefits outweigh the many times that I want to resign. And every single climb, I said, that's it, I've had enough. But I just keep going and going.
Fantastic. That's really, really inspirational, I must say. Don't you agree? Okay, I'm going to open this up early for questions because I'm sure there's plenty that you'd like to ask. So can we open it up if anyone has any burning questions to ask these three women? This is your last chance. This is the last panel. So anyone? Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, my question is to all the ladies. I often find, that's my mother, she's very encouraging and all, but oftentimes women are women's own worst enemy. So, do you want to comment on that? Like, how they stop you from doing things, even though it seems like a lot of things are changing? Women are women's own worst enemy?
Yeah, like for example, when men, they're like, okay, if they say yes, they mean yes. No means no. But if a woman say yes, it means no. If no, it means no. If yes, it means no. So, yeah, I think we're our worst enemy, right? So, yeah.
It's funny, yes. My worst enemies were women like me. And at the start I couldn't understand. They cannot see what I'm saying. I couldn't. And then I got sick of explaining myself. You remember when I said, stop explaining yourself and just be yourself? It wasn't easy because you think like, they're women like me. I'm fighting we're collecting signatures, 3,500. We send it to the king with our petition. And then they go collect 1,000 signatures saying we don't want to drive. You're like, what? And they send it to the king with us, same time. So it's like the first time in history where someone go to the king and say, I don't want your right, don't give it to me. It was very confusing to me, I didn't understand. And also the jealousy. I worked with 38 men for 10 years. I was the only engineer. It was the best time of my life. The worst jealousy, the worst jealousy is like, why she got to do the presentation and not me? Is it because she's a girl? Is it because she's prettier than me? Or whatever the things they were saying. The girls don't do that. They go behind your back and they say all terrible things about you, and then they come the next morning and they smile in your face. I never understood it. But still, there are amazing women too. But I think the world is not nice to us. It's enough that the world is not nice to us to give other women a hard time. Only a powerful, very confident woman, that's the only one you will find her pushing other women, empowering other women.
That's true. And that's what we'd like to be, right? Powerful, confident women who support other women, right? That's what we're trying to do here. Any more questions? Also overawed. Yes.
How's the clothing in Saudi Arabia? I guess you still have to wear the headscarf and everything, right?
We still have to wear abaya. Even if you go to Saudi Arabia today, you have to wear the abaya.
And everybody, right? Even
Everyone.
foreigners.
No exceptions, except Ivanka Trump. She decided to walk without abaya, and everyone were taking her photo. Like why? Because that week, 2 weeks before that, Malak Shihri, a Saudi woman, walked out without abaya. She was arrested for breaking the urf. And the next week, Ivanka Trump, so they were putting their photos together. Saudi Arabia is still ruled by not only conservative, but also by the very strict religious laws. One of them is the dress code. Islam talks about modesty, but in Islam, there is not a single text in Islam define the color of the clothes or the shape of the clothes or even covering the hair or the face. Islam is all about modesty for men and women. That's the interesting thing. And Islam emphasizes more the man, if he feels seduced by a beautiful woman, he lower his gaze. Never ask a woman to cover her face. And that's the problem we're facing in Saudi. We're trying to bring the awareness. Just our problem is really with also the government because they make it law. So when the government gets involved in your personal life, things become really complicated.
Yes, Rebecca.
Quick question for Manal. Manal, do you think that all the Saudi women will be able to drive in, say, your lifetime? I mean, how do you feel about a sort of time frame in actually achieving your goal? I mean, I really hope they can in a very short time, but in reality, is there a time frame that you can shoot for, do you think?
I always answer this question. I have a standard answer for that question. I'll say it. Women will drive when they want to drive. Ask me how. You remember the chains within? If they break those chains, they can arrest one woman driver, 2 women driver, 5 women, but they cannot arrest millions if they decide to go out and drive. Yes. Exactly. The problem in Saudi Arabia is women themselves are too afraid. We find so many women know how to drive, but they're too afraid to go out and drive. I had to set an example when I posted that video that it can be done. A lot of women drove. The problem in Saudi Arabia is women still don't believe in themselves that they can do it. Once they believe me, the government will not stop them. And I hope we drive before Uber self-driving car becomes a fact.
Self-driving car, yes. Yeah. Any more questions? I guess we have to believe in these things, right? Yes, do you have another question?
I don't remember his name, but there's a human rights activist from Saudi Arabia also. His wife wrote a book about him, Ghazi. I don't know if you know him.
Raif Badawi.
Yes.
The blogger.
Yes. And he was actually, I think, arrested just because for the things he was writing and so on. So are you ever afraid that you will also be punished or arrested just because you're going to these conferences talking about this issue?
I think fear doesn't, there's a famous writer, Najib Mahfoud, he said, fear doesn't prevent you from death, prevents you from living. I believe in that. What's the worst could happen to me when they arrest me? There is a risk, but that risk should not stop you from so when I started the movement, and there was a genuine interest from around the world finally to the women's rights in my country, seize the moment, use that. If you are quiet and you cannot speak up, you lose it. No matter the harassment I'm getting, no matter the threats I'm getting. By the way, when I was in jail, I signed all type of pledges, promising never to speak to the media, promising never to participate in any campaign, promising never to drive on the Saudi land. I was just signing. My family signed the same ones. I was more afraid my family gets in trouble, not me. But I came out and I spoke up. I went to conferences. I participated again, and I'm there again. Will they arrest me? Maybe. But should that stop me? No.
Actually, I'm curious, and this is for everyone. You know, we're such an interconnected world these days. Here we are talking about traveling, but everybody probably starts traveling by going onto their computer, and they see how other people live. How, you know, when you see what's possible by women who take an example. A friend of mine used to go for these boot camps in the UK, in Scotland and all that. And I used to think that's completely crazy, you know. And then I looked up this particular boot camp, and lo and behold, I saw all these women who look exactly like me. And there they were, you know, doing that. I thought, oh, if that auntie can do it, I can also. You know, oh, it's a camp for aunties. Is that, how does that, you know, particularly say in societies like yours, and then maybe, you know, we too, when we live here in Malaysia, where we are nowadays inundated in a way with images of women doing things that we never thought possible for women. I mean, what goes on in people's heads? I mean, I'm particularly curious, okay, I mean, not that I want to always direct everything to Manal, but we have a lot of Saudi women coming here to Malaysia. And
my honeymoon was here in Malaysia.
Your honeymoon,
my
yes.
first husband.
And they come in full Saudi outfit, but they're looking around and they're seeing us. And what's going on in their heads? What do you think? I mean, has there been anything back home that says, oh, I went on holiday to a Muslim country and I saw women driving and working and, you know, everywhere. And what goes on in their heads? I'm always curious about this.
When I came, I wasn't covering my face, but when I believed in it, they told us that anyone who doesn't cover her face is kafir. That's the worst thing to say about another Muslim and even another human being. But when I uncovered my face, I always so one of the things also made me always question. My mom's family come from Libya and they don't. We go to Egypt and women don't drive, and it's like drive and they don't wear the abaya, and I always question these things. And I remember I came to Penang. We had one of these beach resorts, and my husband was going and swimming and having fun, and I couldn't do these things because I was not supposed to do these things. It's thrown out in my country. In Saudi Arabia, we cannot even leave the country without a male guardian permission. I cannot get my passport. I had to fly to Saudi. My father is 83. I asked him to give me permission to issue me my passport. I'm 38. And after he issued me the passport, I found out the permission to leave the country wasn't there. We had to go again to the passport control office. The passport office. So he issued me a permission to leave the country.
But isn't the point of getting a passport is to leave the country? So I mean, yes, you don't get the passport for fun.
You cannot, as a woman, so don't take your passports for granted. If you don't have a passport, you're all travelers. I'm pretty sure you have passport. I hated my friends in the US who never had passports. I'm like, it's a dream for us. My passport has, at the back, has a sticker, a word. There is a reward for anyone who finds this passport. contact this number, contact this email. This is how precious it is to me, my passport. Because in Saudi Arabia, for me as a woman, to get that passport, it's a huge thing. And even if you get it, you need to get the permission to leave the country. Never take it for granted.
So it's the key to your freedom in a way. And I'm just curious, are there any more questions that, because I just wanted to ask whether there was a particular light bulb moment for any of you that, yeah, this is it, you know, this is what I'm born to do or what I'm supposed to be doing. Was there a light bulb?
Can I say something about the traveling? When you said what goes in my mind when I see other Muslim women, I think traveling opened my mind more. It was like living other people's lives. And that what really, really changed me. Like, no matter how much you read, it's not like going and seeing it and living it. Especially when you know locals. You don't go to touristic places, you meet locals. That really changed how I live, how I think. That really opened my mind.
We're so used to being in a routine, right? So once we break the barrier of that routine and just go against your fear and just go travel, yeah, that's pretty much a light bulb like moment for my life, actually, honestly. Because before this, I mean, like the routine that I mentioned is that just being around KL, and then like, and you're right, your first point traveling starts when you're on your laptop or you're on your computer to serve to see where you want to go. But usually after that, because like I think this is not my place to go, and then after that you procrastinate and then you don't go, right? But then once you get out to the other side of the world, all the other countries, then it opens up your eyes that, you know what, there are more things that other people are doing out of Malaysia. So yeah, so I mean, that's my.
For me is the epiphany moment is when I did Rinjani, came back down, and I thought, you know, that's the moment where I felt that I could have died. It's a 17 hours walk after getting to the summit, and then get back down. I could hardly walk. And then I said, why didn't I do my research? Why didn't I scroll through internet? Why didn't I read the fine lines that this is going to be a tough climb? So during, you know, my spa treatment, I thought, you know, I need to set up a group, a community of women trekkers. I mean, I do enjoy the journey, but it's a tough one. And then I, you know, started checking it out to see if there's a women trekking group, and I found that there wasn't any. I've always been a very slow and steady walker going up the mountain. And people look at you in a funny way when you're slow. It's like, oh, you know, you don't look like a trekker. That, you know, expectation in society that you're supposed to look fit. You're young, you're meant to be young if you want to go up the mountain. So our recent experience is we had 14 of us and 4 are children. I would say the children are 9, 12, 16, and 12. And when we got to 3,200 meters, one of the youngest girl is 8, sorry, and she was cold. The wind, the sound of the wind blowing against her face was what made her scared. And it was at high altitude, so her lips turned purple. And my daughter said to me, Mommy, Anya is turning blue. And so we looked at her, we said to her mother, oh, I think she's really cold and she might have to turn back down. The guides, the 2 guides, look at us and say, I think all of you should go back down. All of you should follow Anya down. And then I looked at him like, really? I said, yeah, you all don't look like you can make it. I mean, what gives him the right to say that we are not going to make it? So I said, wait, it's not your decision to make. Let us, each and every one of them, and the oldest person that we had there was 57 years old. She's a restaurant owner. Her husband had passed away about 6 years ago, and this is the only thing she looks forward to do, is to climb mountains with us. And she has the right to make her own decision whether she's going to continue another 5 hours up a difficult mountain. And we all voted, and every single one said, yes, we're doing it. And guess what? Each and every one made it, safe, without injury. And the man came to me somewhat apologetic, and said, oh, this amazing Trekkers Club is really, truly amazing. So ordinary women out there with children, grandchildren, it is possible.
Great. That's a fantastic message, really, We decide for ourselves and we, pull it through ourselves.
It's
Right?
like I just wanted to add, like for example, hearing their stories. I mean, I'm a little bit jealous because you guys have seen more of the world, which I am going back into. So the thing that now comes with more purpose because just wanted to show to people who think cancer survivors or warriors they can't do anything, but actually you're actually as normal as a normal healthy person, but actually you are, I mean, in terms of spirit you're stronger, so that challenges you to do more than what normal people would do. So because like for example normal people would just be like, okay lah, we'll just go for a walk, but I would want to go to the nooks and crannies and discover everything. So I hope that when I start traveling more, I'll get more stories and at least people will be able to relate and also, okay, let's do what Nel's doing.
But now, are there adjustments that you need to make?
A lot. Number one is food.
Food,
Yeah, because I can't just simply eat all the oily stuff anymore. I have to really be careful. I love street food, but I can't because of hygiene purposes. I'll easily get stomach ache and bad tummy. Number one. Number two, hygiene of the toilet. I have to eat a lot of fruits around. I have to carry my supplements. The activities that I'll be doing, I have to make sure that it doesn't disrupt my chemo port or my surgical area. So yeah, there's a lot more things to consider now. But yeah.
But you just roll with it, right?
I don't care. You only live once, so yeah, just
That's
go
true.
with it.
That's true. Any more questions, everyone?
I want to say to Nelleisa, I think you're very special, actually, because here in Malaysia, I mean, breast cancer, it's often not a very visible thing at all. And for you to have done what you've done, I mean, I really admire you, and thank you very much for everyone and for anyone, because any of us could come down with breast cancer at any time. I think what you've done is very, very special, really.
Thank you very much. You want a free makeup, padding, touch-up? I can give it to you. Thank you so much.
Nelly, we are doing, we have got 22 women signed up for our Rinjani trek next year. You mentioned you want to do Rinjani. We'd like to take you up Rinjani with us.
Yeah! Your friend. Yes.
And can I get you guys to write about it for Zafigo.com, please?
Yeah, so it's
Can.
with pictures.
Thank God.
Powder your
Whenever
face
she was
at the
saying
peak.
about the climbing thing and the trekking stuff, I kept on looking at her. She was like,
Those two
we're going.
powerful women, example, pushing each other.
Yes, exactly. And
One
that's really...
another. It's a support system that we have here that,
Yeah.
we can...
And I think that's the special thing about women too. That, we do like to support each other and see everyone succeed, because then it's a fine example for all of us. It benefits all of us, not just...
The year I started wanting to drive, Mia? She's from Sri Lanka originally. MIA.
Yeah, that's
She,
the rapper.
she released Bad Girl. Have you watched that? It was inspired by the movement. You didn't know that? It was inspired by our movement. For me, that was women's solidarity.
The video of
Bad Girl.
bad girls. We're all trying to be bad and disrespectful.
The next song will be Disrespectful Woman.
Yes.
I don't have a question, just feedback about the whole thing. I was talking to some speakers like Joanna, and I talked to some of my friends and acquaintances that I met here. I said that this few days is such a beautiful, fantastic program lined up. But the thing is, it is such a waste, shameful that not many people, knew about this, and the turn up is like so few. And I said, this is really very sayang, that so many people didn't even know about that. I mean, including me. I mean, it was just an accident that I tried to call my schoolmate, my classmate to wish her belated birthday, and she told me about this Zafigo. I said, what is that? She said, you know, briefly, you know, all this founded by Datin Paduka and others. And I said, oh, travel. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, maybe after my, you know, I'm done with my stuff, I'm going to drop by. So the past 2 days, you know, I'm here, and I realized that this is such beautiful platform, you know, for women. And I think you guys have put a lot of effort in it, and it should be, you know, enjoyed and benefit more people. But I guess, yeah, it's sayang that, you know, publicity is not there and not many people knew about it. And I hope, you know, the next round, you know, the hall is going to be full, and more people are attending all these wonderful programs here. And great job to the organizers, and thank you for bringing all the women here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. No, I mean, seriously, yes, we understand. We wish there was a lot more people, and we did try to get it better known, but it is the first time that we are doing it. And I think a lot of people are kind of wary of things that they don't really know about. But we hope that after this, all of the talks have been recorded by professionals. You see these two guys with the really big cameras, and they will all be put online. And so that more women can, you know, see what's been going on, what's been talked about. So we'll let everyone know when it goes on Zafigo.com. And we hope that that will build the interest and following for next year, because we definitely hope to repeat this next year. But I think I also don't want people to think, well, I don't have to go, I can just watch the video. Because I think just watching the video, what you will lose out on is the interaction with everyone and meeting people face to face and making the connections. I mean, how many of you never thought you'd meet any of these women before you came? Yeah, you see, like even for me, I mean, I meet a lot of women all the time in the course of my work, but almost everyone here is new to me, and it's been an incredibly enriching experience. So well, I mean, we're about to close this panel, but I'm also supposed to kind of close up and wrap up the whole of ZafigoX, even though we still have some more workshops. So I might as well do it now. I think that despite the low numbers, we have been pushing it out on social media while it's been going on also. I think we've achieved quite a lot as well. One, I think from your feedback, and by the way, I hope you got our feedback forms and you will fill it in, because it will be very valuable for us to do the next one. Well, I think we've created great content because I'm sure you'll agree with me, all the speakers have been exemplary. It's all terrific, every one of you. You know, we invited them, we knew more or less what they were all about, but we really didn't know what they were going to present and what they were going to talk about. We just, like, we weren't going to check. What are you going to talk about? We just gave them more or less what Zafigo is all about, and can you please talk about in that area directed towards women, and what did you learn from it all? And it's all worked out beautifully. I hope you agree with me, because they all came up with life lessons, and you know, and that's what's benefited us all. The second thing I think that we've managed to achieve is to create this platform where you all can talk to each other and hopefully spark new ideas, new alliances, maybe even new businesses, I don't know, which would not happen without face-to-face interaction. You know, in this super connected world, we still miss out, I think, on the human interaction which we still need and which actually is the most valuable part of relationships. You know, I mean, you can talk to people online all the time, but it's nothing quite like meeting, you know, face to face. So I hope that that works for you. And also, I think it was kind of a pilot to do ZafigoX this year. But given the way you all have responded, the way our speakers have responded, I think it will definitely spur my team and I to do bigger and better things next year. So we really hope for your feedback. It's very valuable to us what you think. It's also very valuable to us to show our sponsors that yes, this is a very good idea, and it does deserve support. So, so yeah, I hope, and I hope you will go home and tell all your friends about your experience here, and you know, and how they should come next year. And we hope to reach out all of you. So I hope that you've all left a way for us to keep in contact with all of you. We do have a newsletter and things that goes out to everyone. And please come to our website, zafigo.com, and contribute and read and everything. So I just want to conclude by thanking everyone, all the speakers, all the moderators, all the workshop leaders and activity leaders, those who have come from so far away, for making the first ever ZafigoX such a, to me, I mean, it's really been a fulfilling success. And just think you all are pioneers, and you can all say, I was there when. It was just a little thing, and hopefully one day it will become something really huge, a new movement, as Hazleen was saying. And you can say, I was part of that at the beginning. Isn't that a great feeling?
We definitely want to be part of that next year. And you're tracking with us too.
Yeah.
I want to track with Datin Paduka. You see?
Let me recover from this first. This was like a track already. Thank you, all of you, and thank you all over. And please do join the workshops. And if I don't see you around, because I have to run back to KL this evening, it is Raya Haji tomorrow. Today was Merdeka, and I wish all Malaysians Selamat Hari Merdeka, Happy Independence Day. I hope that what you have learned today leads to your own Merdeka.